I'm going to take you through our survey one more time. We're looking for regal fritillaries and monarchs. We're not looking for viceroys. They're going to try and trip you up. Don't do it. I'm going to have you estimate distances before you go out to practice. I'll assign sites. Then we'll do our surveys. We're looking for all the butterflies we can see within the survey area. Next, we'll record any butterflies, species, sex, behavior, distance, and angle. We do the distance and angle to use some trig to help us get some abundance measures down the road once we're doing the stats. On the way back, you're going to do floral and landscape characteristic assessments, recording that on your data sheet. And then don't forget to look for milkweed and monarchs and regals the whole time for our presence survey, our small little presence survey. Required skills for the butterfly survey. You need to have good eyesight, both near and far when outdoors. After this training, you'll need to be able to accurately estimate distances by sight in meters. I have places set up in the eastern quarter of the state to help with that. That is a skill you will need. You need to at least be able to take good pictures of plants. I'll go into that also, but if you can identify them, that helps me a little bit. You need to be able to for sure identify your butterflies and then be able to use a GPS. Google Maps is fine. That's what I use in the field. You're going to need to walk outdoors in hot and sunny weather. You don't always get like a nice flat path, so you will probably want to be able to walk a mildly rigorous path as well. You need to be able to get to your location, and then the goal of the survey is to do at least 2 surveys that are a month apart between June 15th and August 15th, taking 30 minutes once you get to the site. So for each site, we hope you get to it twice in a summer, roughly a month apart. You could do more. I ask you not to do less, but sometimes that happens. But please try to get there at least twice in a year between June 15th and August 15th. This is kind of what our survey area looks like. I throw this out just so you understand this map a little better. This is how I let you pick what sites you want. So you tell me, I am willing to survey in I, F, G, or I, F, H, and K. And I will assign you sites according to your preference. As you can see, we do not have a ton of sites near Omaha and Lincoln, which are where most people live and where most people are going to want their sites. So the more spread out you are willing to be, the more likely I can find sites for you. How these sites were picked, I wanted land that's relatively easy to access. I've contacted random landowners before, and it takes a huge amount of time to just straight up cold call people. So we use public lands like Game and Parks, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and the City of Lincoln. We have lots more than that, but those are just the examples. We also have some private landowners that have worked with Game and Parks or are partners in the past. So they're more likely to say yes, was kind of the idea. We dropped 1,000 points in those areas. And then I went through and hand vetted all 1,000 of those points. We came up with roughly 400 points that work. And then now we're to the ground truthing stage where we either survey an area or we exclude it. So we've already excluded most of our sites. We have added some new sites in this year. So we might exclude a few more. I am hoping for some help out west. I'm hoping to get roughly 2 surveys done twice in the summer in each of these boxes. These are kind of more canary in a coal mine sites. So I'm hoping for like really high quality sites with a lot of butterflies so that if those butterflies go away in a year or 2 or are gone for multiple years in a row, we really know that a change has happened since we're doing 200 surveys over here and we're hoping to get 30 out here for the other 3/4 of the state. So yeah, just kind of keep an eye on the broader landscape without breaking the bank on finding volunteers and getting out west. Where you will survey in the past, volunteers have only surveyed on public lands. We have roughly 4 times the volunteers signed up this year. I don't know what 2023 and on is going to look like, but I hope it looks like this. So some of our volunteers will likely need to survey on private land. Those volunteers will need to make the call to the landowner to get on their land. We won't do that for you. I will probably touch base with the landowner to make sure they're okay with community scientists getting on their land first, but you will still need to contact the landowner. There will be a post-training Google form. This is how I know you are still interested. It will have your name and number. I would really love to hear about how you heard about the survey. I did a lot more advertising this year and I got a lot more people signed up. So please tell me how you heard about the survey. Would you be willing to survey private lands? Where would you like to survey? Those was that A through K of block letters out there. This also includes the West. How many sites would you like? And then there is probably going to be some data entry that I'll look for help for come the fall. So that's also on the form. And we did it. We have basically made it to our break. What final questions do we have for the introduction? And thanks for coming out. If you're just here for the introduction, I appreciate you coming out and listening to me talk.
So we do have several questions in the chat. A few people are wondering if they can work with a partner or if they have to do it individually.
That's a great question. The butterfly survey itself is a single observer survey. So we only want a single person to count butterflies. You can have somebody trail 5 to 10 meters behind you while you're doing the first butterfly pass and record all that. And then that second person can help you take the vegetation and habitat assessment with you. So I encourage the buddy system. At the very least, somebody should know where you are at before you go out surveying. But having 2 people in the field is kind of the ideal situation, but not to survey the butterfly. It is a single observer butterfly survey. But having people trail behind you is not a problem.
Perfect. And can you just clarify, are people assigned sites or can they choose?
Why can't I go back? There we go. So I will assign in the East these sites here. I will do that based on your preferences for where you're willing to travel. But if you and 30 other people pick only G, somebody's not going to get what they want. So that hasn't been a problem in the past, but I expect it to be more of an issue this year since we have such a higher number of volunteers. In the West, these would be you picking your sites. They can be on your land. I would like them to be roughly 200 meters long and to, at least for the first year, be have a lot of butterflies on them, monarchs and regal fritillaries. At least one of those that you've seen recently. Did I cover that one, Olivia?
Yes.
Okay.
And then this map helps with some folks are just saying where they live and if there's locations there. So if someone's in Howard County, which is right on the border, so they could choose to be in the western section near St. Paul, or they might be assigned a site in the eastern portion. of that county?
I will likely need the most help down by Aurora, Hastings, Fairbury, Beatrice area. So if you want to make my life easier, these would be the most help to me to have people sign up for. I'm not saying you can't sign up for these as well, but these are going to fill up the slowest, I fear. So yes, the more you're willing to travel, the easier my life gets when we are assigning sites.
And in the previous results maps, where were the two large black areas?
Oh, that was the Crane Trust between Grand Island and Kearney, the Alda exit. They've done a lot of work managing for Monarchs and Regals. They've been surveying for them for quite a while, 5-10 years, I think. And they helped me out last year. So yeah, that kind of is a little bit of a shocker when you see the giant dot, but that is outside of our primary survey area here in the east.
Well, that does it with the questions in the chat. Thanks, Cody.
Great. Oops, gotta click back on.
Oh, sorry, one more question.
Sure.
What disqualifies an area?
Oh, that's great. We would like you to survey if you're able. So if you can walk it and you can reasonably keep your head up looking for butterflies, that's what we're after. If you're like crawling through cedars or trying to walk through a river or a lake, don't do that. Please don't do that. Please stay safe. We'll exclude that site and either just drop it and that's enough for you, or we'll try and find you another site to survey. Most of our sites now have been surveyed, so we know like 90% of our sites are good at this point. So it's unlikely you'll need to get rid of a spot, but still possible.
And if they want to survey a private land site, how would they go about nominating that or letting you know?
In the Google form, I think it's here. I don't know. It's somewhere in here. Yeah. Would you be willing to survey private lands or not? If you don't want to talk to landowners, that's perfectly fine. It is a little unnerving when you first try it, but after the 10th or so, it's just part of your day. So I completely understand if that's not something you want to do. We will try to find you public land that you don't have to talk to anybody to access. But that would give me more options to give you lands if you are willing to go on private lands. So you're more likely to get your choice the more options you give me. Is that all of them, Olivia?
Yeah, there's a few. So you said if working with a partner, one counts butterflies and the other survey areas, keeping 10 meters distance. So yeah, you can have a partner with you, but just that partner needs to stay back so that the observer encounter can see around them and see the butterflies and estimate that distance.
Yes. Yep. We don't want your buddy off 10 yards to the right of you flushing up butterflies that you wouldn't have seen had they not been there. And that goes for like dogs as well. I don't care if you bring a dog out as long as whoever says it's fine. But make sure they are trained enough to stay behind you and not flushing butterflies that you wouldn't have seen had they not come with you. All right, Olivia had one more question pop up.
Yeah, so if someone wants to survey their private land or their friend's private land on the Google Docs after the training, can they put that location in?
So for yes, so the way the data in the project is set up, anything that is not either out west or one of the randomly drawn points will be much less useful statistically. I can't say how much less weight it's going to hold, but it's going to hold a lot less. So I would really encourage you to adopt one or two or three of the pre-made transects. Again, unless you are out in the West, and then that is indicated. You are welcome to set up your own, but it will be less useful than doing one of the transects. I think I have a notes section for the Google form, which is where you would probably want to put that if you still do want to put in your own transect. Anything else, Olivia?
Someone was asking if they can do more than one transect a day.
Sure. Yes. If you select that you want 2 or 3 or 4, I will try to group those so that you are driving to like a 10-mile area as opposed to 1 and G and F and K. So I try to make it as easy on you to survey as many sites as you want. 5 is probably as many as you could do in a day, especially if you haven't done a fair amount of practice before that. And 5 is probably pushing it. For your first day, I wouldn't expect too many more than 3. So 4 would be a relatively long, especially first day. But you're welcome to as many as you would like. So if you want to go out multiple times a week, sure, I'll take the help that I can get. If you haven't got these apps yet, I would encourage you to download them and bookmark nowcoast.noaa.gov as it's my preferred weather lookup site. But yeah, we will take a 6-7 minute break and then come back here at 2:10 to continue the rest of the training. If anybody was here just for the introductory material, we are through all of that. We are going to get into survey methods and what it takes to actually survey. So I want to thank you for coming out. I appreciate you giving me the time to talk to you here today. I hope you learned something, and please let me know if you have any further questions in the future.